हेलो माय फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू इम्तिहान आईएएस। इम्तिहान आईएएस में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। दिस सेशन इज इन continuance of the previous ones. Today we will discuss the section of geography and polity of test 1. Now let's begin with the geography questions. So the first question is, consider the following crops: ragi, bajra, jute, sugarcane, moong and gram. So which one of the above given crops is cultivated under dry land farming? So what is dry land farming? That region which receives less than 75 centimeter of rainfall is known as dry land region. So which type of crops can grow there? This region can grow hardy crops, hardy and drought resistant. Drought resistant crops which require less water. So water is not much needed for growing these crops. These are ragi, bajra, moong, and gram. So 1, 2, 5, and 6. Option D would be the answer. But first, let us know what is wetland farming. So wetland farming happens to those regions where water is in abundance. What type of crops can grow there? Water intensive crops like rice, sugarcane, and jute, etc. These sugarcane, jute, rice, these are water intensive crops. These require much water to grow. So these crops grow in wetland farming, wetland region. For this question, option D is the answer. Next, consider the following statements about solar energy. Okay. First, it is cost competitive and environment friendly. Yes. Solar energy, we all know, renewable energy which can be renewed. This is in abundance. We have to harness its benefits. So next is solar energy is 7% more efficient than coal or oil based plants. Very true. Is 7% more beneficial. Nuclear plants are 10% more effective than solar energy. No, just the opposite thing. Solar energy is 10% more efficient than nuclear plants. Next, the central part of India has greater potential for the development of solar energy. This is also wrong. Not the central part, but the western part. Western part means Karnataka. We all know Karnataka is the largest one. It was Karnataka and Gujarat. These states have much more potential to develop solar energy. Okay. So in this question, 1 and 2, option B is only correct. We all know it's cost effective as our government has launched one very ambitious program, PM Surya Ghar Yojana. What is this mission? That government is providing subsidy to install solar plates on your rooftop. Okay. So this is PM Surya Ghar Yojana. Okay. Next. Match the following. So these are national waterways. Okay. Now let us match it. The first national water one, Allahabad to Haldia, and there is one more thing, Patna is a part of it. Next is means the route is Allahabad to Patna, then Patna to Farakka, and Farakka to Haldia. This is the whole route of national waterways. Now the second one is Sadia to Dhubri, Brahmaputra river. Brahmaputra. Okay, Sadia to Dhubri is in waterways 2. Third is Kottapuram to Kolam, south. And the fourth one is Godavari and Krishna, there only. Okay, so the answer would be 3, 4, 1 and 2. Option D will be the answer. Next. Which of the given statement is not true? We have to pay huge attention what is written in the question. Not true with regard to the international date line. So you know international date line. The international date line roughly follows the 180-degree line of longitude. True. Opposite of prime meridian. Okay. So 0 degree is prime meridian. Just behind this prime meridian, we get the international date line, 180 degree. Okay. The time at this longitude is exactly sorry, 24 hours from the 0 degree longitude. No, it is 12 hours. A person moving eastward on Tuesday will count the day as Wednesday once the international date line is crossed. This is true. Statement is true. As you move towards west, the day will in the day will change. Towards the west. You have to move towards west. For a person moving westward, the time would be 12 hours more than the prime meridian. Okay, so this is also true. Option B is the answer. Consider the following rivers: Amravati, Musi, Bhavani, Hemavati, Koyna, and Bhima. So, which of the given rivers are main tributaries of the Kaveri River? Kaveri River, we all know. Kaveri River starts from here and then goes to Bay of Bengal. So, which are the all the I, Amravati, Bhavani, Hemavati are the main tributaries of Kaveri River. 1, 3, and 4. So option D will be the answer. Which one of the following phenomenon happens when the sun shines vertically over the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere? So this marks, winter solstice. Winter solstice on 22nd December. What does this mean? This means this day has the shortest day and longest night. When the sun shines vertically over the Tropic of Capricorn. Let's read the statement. High pressure develops over northwestern India due to low temperatures. Good, correct. So our answer will be option A. What happens when the sun shines vertically in southern hemisphere? High pressure develop over northern part. Okay, and low pressure develops over southern part till to the Indian Ocean. Okay, now what happens? The high pressure winds will from northwest region start blowing towards the south region till Indian Ocean. So here is winter because low temperature but high pressure develops here. And this statement: which of the following biosphere reserve are located in central India? Central, let's see. Panchmadi, maybe. Nokrek, Meghalaya. Achanakmar, Amarkantak, MP. Panna is also in MP. So 1, 3, and 4 will be the answer. Option C. All these three are located in Madhya Pradesh, and Nokrek is located in Meghalaya. So this would be the answer 1, 3, and 4. Next. Which of the following increases as we move from the surface of the earth towards its center? Surface of the earth towards its center means crust. to core. Let's see. Density, yes, density increases. On crust, density is 2.7. As we move inside the earth, it will become 5.5. Pressure also increases, and temperature, obviously temperature will increase. Core temperature is 6000 degrees Celsius, the middle of the core. So maybe when we move from crust to core, the temperature subsequently, so all three increases. Option D will be the answer. Next is, which of the following plates lie between South America and Pacific Ocean plates? So know about the plates. There are seven major plates and more than 20 minor plates. So this is one of the minor plate that lies between South America and Pacific Ocean, that is Nazca plate. So this would be the answer, option B. Now consider the following with reference to active volcanoes. So there are, we know, three types of volcanoes. First is active, second is dormant, that it can erupt, but for a longer period of time it has not erupted, but it can erupt anytime. That is dormant. Next is extinct. Extinct means long period have been passed, like 200 years, and it has not recorded any eruption. So these are the three types of volcanoes. Now let's see the options. Mount Etna, it's an active volcano in Italy. You know Lipari Island, Lipari Island of Italy, located there. Stromboli, it is also in Italy. Lighthouse of Mediterranean, we all know the Stromboli. Mauna Loa is also, we know, this is the largest active volcano on earth. It is situated in Hawaii Islands. Next is Vesuvius. This is dormant. Okay, it is also located in Italy. Next is Kilimanjaro. It's in Africa, but this is extinct volcano. Has not been erupted since long time. So the option 1, 2 and 3, option A will be the correct answer. Okay, next. According to scientists, the seismic shadow zone lies within how many degrees from the earthquake epicenter? So the what is seismic shadow zone? Earthquake is measured in by seismograph. But there are some region where seismograph cannot acquire the waves. The waves are not recorded in some regions, some areas. Okay. So those areas are known as seismic shadow zone. Where the waves are not recorded in a seismograph, that area is known as seismic shadow zone. So what is the degree? That is 105 to 145 degree. This would be the answer. So if the waves are far from the epicenter, from 105 degree to 145 degree, the seismograph cannot capture the waves, whether it is a P wave or S wave. Okay. Match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer from the codes given below. So list 1 is granite. Granite is, you all know, igneous rock. Salt and coal. Salt and coal are sedimentary rocks. Marble is amorphic rock. Iron and copper are minerals. So the answer would be C. C would be the answer of this question. Which of the following rivers and tributaries are not correctly matched? So Bagmati, Dalbakea is correct. Kamla, Durgavati, not correct because Durgavati is a tributary of Karmnasa river. Okay. Karmnasa river, it originates from Rohtas plateau and it makes border between UP and Bihar. Son, Thand is correct. Falgu, Mane is also correct. So Son river, we all know it originates from Amarkantak in MP, and Falgu, we all know it's made up of two streams, Niranjana and Mohana. It is called Falgu in Gayaji. So all these are correct. Only Durgavati is not correct. So option B with the answer. Next, Tukhlahari Falls, situated on which river of Bihar? So we all know Sukhlahari Falls is located on Kanhar River. So this is very famous fall. Which of the following statement is correct with reference to Ghagra River? Ghagra River originates from Nepal. So origin from Nampa, Nepal. This is correct. Entry into Bihar from Gopalganj is also correct. And meets Ganga at Chhapra, Revelganj. Chhapra. Okay, so all the three statements are correct. D is the option. Next. With reference to the flow of river Ganga in Bihar, identify the correct order of the following districts from west to east. Now, from west, from west to east. So the easternmost is Katihar, okay, and from west is Begusarai. Question. So Begusarai will be the first. Begusarai, then Khagadia, then Munger, Bhagalpur, and Katihar. So 5, 3, 1, and 4. This would be the A option would be the answer. Next, recently Naginakti Bird Sanctuary located in Jamui district has been declared a Ramsar site. We all know what a Ramsar site is. What type of forest is surrounded by hills? The catchment area of this sanctuary. So Naginakti, around Naginakti Bird Sanctuary, the forest is dry, deciduous forest. Okay. It's a dry deciduous forest around the Naginik Dam. So consider the following statements. Statement 1. Heat waves have not been included as a notified disaster in Disaster Management Act. So Disaster Management Act came in the year 2005. Okay. Statement 2. Heat waves were a common occurrence during summer and not really an unusual weather event. Also, so both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. A would be the answer. At that time when this act came, Disaster Management Act in 2005, heat waves were not this much extreme at that time. So it was not included in the act as disaster. Okay. Next, consider the following countries: Vietnam, Laos, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines. Which of the above countries have been making competing claims over parts of the South China Sea? So there are 6 countries which are competing. They are Vietnam, Laos, China, Philippines, Brunei, and Taiwan. So these are 6 countries who have been competing claims over parts of South China Sea, which China has the 90% claim on South China Sea. Okay. Consider the following countries. Which of the countries given above enjoy the status of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO full members. So the countries are Iran, Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan. There are 10 countries in SCO as full members. Okay, there are two observer countries, and there are 14 countries which are dialogue partner. They are dialogue partners of SCO. So all the four countries are included. Option C is the answer. Okay, here comes the end of the geography session, and now we are going to start the polity questions. Okay, so the first question is parliamentary government is also known as. So the parliamentary government, we all know that by parliament it gains its power from the parliament, and or the government, the executive is responsible to the legislature in this type of government. So it is known as cabinet government. Yes, most power the cabinet government. Next is its responsible government. Yes, it is. And the third is Westminster form of government, because this is taken from the British Parliament. This form of government in India is adopted from British Parliament, and the seat of British Parliament is Westminster. So it is known as Westminster form of government. So all the three statements are correct. Option D is the correct answer. Which of the following system is established on the basis of direct election? Let's see the options. Gram Panchayat, Block Committee, and Jilla Parishad. So we all know that Gram Panchayat established by on the basis of direct election, whereas Block Committee and Jilla Parishad are not direct election. They are elected by the members of the Gram Panchayat. So option 1 would be the correct answer. Which of the following benefits are enjoyed by national or state parties? In India, there are 6 national parties right now, and 67 state parties, and more than 2800 registered unrecognized party. Plus, what are these registered uh, unrecognized party? Unrecognized parties are there more than 2800. So recognition as a national or a state party ensure that the election symbol of that party is not used by any other political entity in polls across India. This is true. These parties get land or buildings from the government to set up their party offices as the party become recognized by the Election Commission of India. So these parties get land and buildings to set up their party offices. Okay. They can have up to 40 star campaigners during electioneering. Also correct. So recognized parties can have 40 star campaigners, whereas the unrecognized parties can have up to 20 campaigners during election. Okay. So all the statements are correct. Option D is the answer. Consider the following statements. 5-year term of a Lok Sabha MP begins with the subscribing to an oath or affirmation described in the Constitution. Statement is not correct. As soon as the results are declared of an election under Section 73 of Representation of People Act 1951, an MP, an MP's 5-year term of Lok Sabha starts. Okay, so he has some rights as MP. The Constitution does not specify any penalty if a person participates or votes in House proceedings without taking an oath. Oh, this is also not correct. because a person becomes an MP, his 5-year term starts there only, but before taking any oath or affirmation, he cannot participate in the house proceedings. He cannot vote, he cannot debate without taking an oath. So it is very much mandatory for an MP to take an oath. And there is a penalty also. If he participates in the house proceedings without taking an oath, there is a penalty of rupees 500. Okay, so both the statements are wrong. Either one, not two is correct. So, with reference to the office of Speaker and Deputy Speaker, consider the following statements. According to the Constitution of India, both the Speaker and Deputy Speaker must be appointed as soon as may be and specifies a time frame for making the appointment. Okay, so the article of Speaker and Deputy Speaker is Article 178, all the provisions 178. Now, this is also, this statement is true because this is mentioned in Article 93. Okay, according to Constitution, Speaker and Deputy Speaker must be appointed as soon as may be. But it does not specify any time frame for making the appointments of a deputy. So the deputy speaker has the same general powers as the speaker when presiding over the house. It's also true as per Article 95(1), 95 subsection 1. It states that the deputy speaker has the same powers as the speaker when he or she is presiding over the house, as per Article 91 subsection 1. Next is the speaker or deputy speaker is elected from among the Lok Sabha members by a simple majority of members present and voting. Now, what is a simple majority? Simple majority means that 50% plus 1 of present and voting. Of present and voting. So, it is a simple majority. Okay, so statement 2 and 3 are correct. Option B is the answer. One is half correct and does not specify a time frame for making the appointment of deputy speaker. So, the 2 and 3 are correct. Which part of the constitution contains elaborate provisions regarding the composition, appointment and removal of members of UPSC? So, this is contained in part 14. You all know the article 312 states about all India services, and regard of UPSC article is 315, 323. These articles contain the provisions of composition, appointment, removal, independence, power, everything of UPSC are present in these articles. Okay, so B would be the answer of this question. Next, which Amendment Act inserted provision regarding authoritative text of the Constitution in the Hindi language? So the answer is 58th Amendment Act of 1897. It inserted the provision. And added an article 394 subsection A regarding authoritative text of the Constitution in Hindi language. So A would be the answer. Next, which article of Indian Constitution states that no person shall be denied admission into any educational institution solely on the based on the grounds of language? So we all know this is very common. Article 29, educational right. educational rights. No person, no person can be denied admission on solely on base of language or religion or caste or anything is mentioned in Article 29. Which of the following writs is issued to stay proceedings against subordinate courts or tribunals? So, Article 32 for Supreme Court, right to constitutional remedies, and Article 226 for High Courts. So, these give the power to issue writs, and this is known as to stay proceedings prohibition. Prohibition means to stop. Okay. So, to stop the proceedings against subordinate courts or tribunals. So, this would be the answer C. Next. Which of the following is incorrect regarding directive principles? First is it is positive the state needs them on some issues. True. Directive principles are present in Part 4 of our Constitution, Article 36 to 51. It would have been non justiciable. Yes, this is also true. Non enforceable. Its objective is to establish social and economic democracy in the country. True. Well being is ensured by this. Legislation is not required to implement it, it is automatically implemented. So, this is not the correct one. Legislation is required to implement it, it is not automatically implemented. But all the other statement are correct about the directive principles of state policy. This comes to the end of this session of geography and polity. I hope you will revise this, and now the days are very less. Okay, so keep studying. Thank you.